Hello, the following presentation will focus on the methods used to quantify vegetation and ground surface cover along a line point intercept, or LPI. LPI is considered a core method within the lentic AIM protocol. You can follow along in section 6.2 of the draft field protocol for lentic, riparian, and wetland systems on page 93. It is important to gather the materials needed to successfully collect LPI data. Notable items include the line point intercept datasheet or an electronic device such as an iPad with appropriate Survey 123 forms for paperless data collection. A pin flag or laser point can be used to collect data at each LPI point along the transect. The first step is to establish and anchor the transects. After all three transects have been established using the plot layout methods in section 4 of the protocol, you can begin collecting LPI data. Data is collected at half-meter intervals along the transect. The first point for data collection is located at the 0.5 mark on the tape. As you observe LPI points along the tape, you should stand on the right side of the tape as you are looking toward transect end. Pin drops should be made on the left side of the tape. Another helpful hint, from the right side of the tape, the numbers should be facing you. If the numbers are upside down, you are on the wrong side of the tape. The next step is to drop a pin flag to the ground from a standard height next to the tape. Keep the pin vertical to the center of the earth, regardless of slope. Hold the pin a few centimeters from the tape on the side opposite from where you are standing. Make a controlled drop of the pin from the same height each time. Do not guide the pin all the way to the ground. Once dropped, if the pin is caught in a thick litter or thatch layer, apply gentle pressure until it reaches the ground surface. For sites with water, soft sediment, or algae on the soil surface, do not push or pull up on the pin if it encounters soft sediment. Take measurements based on where the pin naturally stops when dropped. You can think of LPI as being divided into 3 different layers: the top layer, lower layer, and ground surface. Let's talk about the way in which we will record each layer. Once the pin flag has made contact with the ground, record the first vascular plant species it intercepts or touches in the top layer column. Hold the pin as vertical as possible. If the pin is angled towards the ground, it will intercept additional species. Remember that the top layer may be above your head in sites with tall woody vegetation, as seen in the image here. So it is important to remember to look above you in addition to looking at the pin drop. Record the species of the uppermost stem, leaf, or plant base that touches the pin using codes seen here or listed on table 11 on page 99 of the protocol. Acceptable codes for a top layer hit include N for none or no vascular plant species, a USDA plants code, or an unknown plant code. If no leaf, stem, or plant base is intercepted or touches the pin, record N for none in the top layer column. Record all additional vascular and non-vascular species that intercept or touch the pin in the order that they are observed from top to bottom in the lower layers column. You should also record water, litter, thatch, or other appropriate codes in the lower layers columns. To see a full list of acceptable lower layer codes, please refer to table 11. Record each plant species only once, the first time it is intercepted, even if it is intercepted several times as one or multiple individuals. If a species has been recorded in the top layer column, it should not be repeated in the lower layer column. Again, if the pin intercepts a non-plant category or other lower layer code, such as litter, before intercepting a vascular plant, the vascular plant species should be recorded in the top layer column, and litter should be recorded in the lower layers column, even if this is not the true order in which you're observing them in the field. Foliage can be live or dead, but only record each species once at each pin drop. If both live and dead intercepts for the same species is hit on the same point, record the hit as live, even if a dead culm or leaf was encountered first. If only dead plant material from a given species touches the pin, circle the species code on the datasheet or select dead on the Survey 123 form. Here you'll see some helpful tips for distinguishing between live and dead plant parts. Rooted plant parts that grew in the current growing season are considered live, even if they have already senesced. For example, if your pin intercepts an annual dandelion that has senesced but was alive at the beginning of the current growing season, the plant should be recorded as live. If the pin intercepts standing dead, thatch, or litter, record the appropriate codes within the lower layers column. Thatch is a unique type of litter that can be found in wetland and riparian environments. It is a tightly interwoven layer of living and dead stems, leaves, and roots, which accumulates between the layer of actively growing vegetation and the soil underneath. It is important to correctly distinguish between standing dead, thatch, and litter at each pin drop. Standing dead includes past year stems and leaves standing at a greater than 45-degree angle and should be recorded by species. Thatch includes past year's stems and leaves at a less than 45-degree angle and is completely attached and interwoven. Litter includes past year's stems and leaves at a less than 45-degree angle and is loose and able to float or blow away. Next, you'll record the ground surface where the end of the pin flag rests in the surface column using the codes listed in Table 11 in the protocol. If the pin flag lands directly within a vascular plant base, record the species code in the surface column. In the example on the left, the pin is resting on the plant base of Carex nebrasensis, so cane 2 would be recorded. If the pin flag lands directly on a non-vascular plant base, such as moss in the example on the right, record M for moss. If either moss or a vascular species is recorded as a basal hit, it should also be recorded as a foliar hit in the top layer or lower layers columns. If the end of the pin rests on lichen crust, organic soil, mineral soil, woody litter, or rock, please list the appropriate ground surface code from Table 11. Water can also be listed as a ground surface code, but only if the water depth is greater than 50 centimeters. After recording codes for the top layer, lower layers, and ground surface, you can repeat the process at half-meter intervals along the transect. Let's go over a few examples. At LPI point 1, the pin flag intercepts Carex nebrasensis, or cane 2, first. So cane 2 is recorded in the top layer column. The pin flag intercepts Taraxacum officinalis, or teoff, next, so teoff is recorded in the lower layer column. The pin is touching gravel for the ground surface, so GR is recorded in the surface column. In LPI point 2, the pin flag intercepts dead Carex nebrasensis, or cane 2, so cane 2 is recorded in the top layer column and circled. The pin flag also intercepts the dead plant base of Carex nebrasensis, so cane 2 is recorded in the surface column and circled. No other plants or categories were intercepted, so the lower layers column remains blank. In LPI point 3, the pin flag does not intercept a leaf, stem, or plant base, so N is recorded in the top layer column. The pin flag intercepts thatch and moss, so TH and M are recorded respectively in the lower layers column. The pin flag rests on mineral soil, so S is recorded in the surface layer. If you are using a tablet to collect data electronically, you can see an example of the Survey 123 form for LPI here. This concludes the methods of line point intercept. There are a number of measures you can take to ensure quality data collection. These steps are also listed on page 101 of the protocol. It is recommended to reference these steps during and after a sample event.